Imagine, if you will, Scott, Brian, and myself walking through a video store, and we're looking at titles, and Scott and I look at Tourist Trap, and we say, hey, remember when we did Tourist Trap? That was a good time. And Brian says, I wasn't here when we did Tourist Trap. And we said, you know what? We're going to rent this again so we can watch it together. That's kind of what these re-rental episodes are going to be. So we re-rented Tourist Trap, and you know Scott and I's opinions of it. We've already recorded our opinions with a different Brian of the Burger Persuasion. But Brian is going to take the reins. He's going to tell us how he feels about Tourist Trap. I have 6 things that I want to make sure we cover during this conversation, but this is all Brian's show to let us know what he thought of some of the classic episodes of Horror Movie Night. So Brian, Tourist Trap, thoughts?
You didn't have to re-rent this. I would have been okay if we didn't. If you guys did this one without me.
I don't understand you at all. I truly don't. You make us watch Nightmare at Noon, and then you're like, oh, Tourist Trap isn't fun.
No, I didn't. Listen, there's a lot going on in Tourist Trap. There's a lot. There's magic. There's incest. There's Zeke the plumber.
Wait. Where's the incest?
I mean, maybe I misheard, but when he was telling his story, I thought he said that his wife was banging her brother. So then he killed both of them.
That's not incest. No. That's him cheating.
Yeah, he said.
How is his wife banging her brother not incest?
No, the wife was banging his brother who doesn't exist.
So he never existed.
No.
Yeah, Slauson is one person. He's just fucking crazy.
Gotcha.
He's got magic. He's got magic to do.
See,
it's not magic. It's telekinesis. He's a mutant.
Yeah, I thought it was like Psycho, where he took on his brother's identity because of the guilt of killing him, but he never existed. Okay. Oh, that makes the movie a better movie now.
One of the things I want to talk about or talk to you about is I legitimately think that Tourist Trap has one of the best openings. I love the whole opening sequence, and I really like the music in Tourist Trap to the point that I bought the Tourist Trap soundtrack when they were selling it at the Full Moon booth one year at San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, it's mostly sighs. Most of the soundtrack is just sighing, but I think it's one of the more unique opening sequences and definitely one of the most unique soundtracks I've heard for a movie. So, Brian, what's your perspective on that, at least?
On the soundtrack. You want my opinion on the soundtrack
and the the soundtrack and the opening sequence?
Yeah, it was fine. So I think that if we would have done this in June, it would have been very different. It would have been a nice break from the shit that I picked. But we took a long break. And I didn't feel that with Full Moon or Troma or Shudder or anything like that. I just watched quality content.
That's what we do on our breaks, dude. That's not news.
And then, so yeah, I don't know, man. I don't get it.
You can barely stay awake talking about this movie.
Because I like to sit back quietly and then throw my comments in every while, and now you guys are making me take
this is
the reins.
really, really intense for Brian, and I don't know why you're doing this to him, except for the fact that you must hate your brother.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So, one of the other things that I wrote down that I actually really, really still love about Tourist Trap, because the origins for Tourist Trap was that when we did it for Horror Movie Night, it was the second time we were talking about Tourist Trap. We did it for Reddit Horror Club.
Is this really the third time you and I have talked about it?
I think so. Because
Holy shit.
Because we went into it it's probably not going to be that good. You know what I mean? And then we watched it, and I think both of us were like, holy shit. How is not more people talking about Tourist Trap? And then when Burger was like, I'd really like to talk about Tourist Trap, we were like, fuck yeah, we'll talk about Tourist Trap again. And then with this, when we were thinking of episodes that we wished that Brian was on with us back before he was part of the show, we were like, fucking Tourist Trap. It's got to be Tourist Trap. We got to end summer with a tourist trap. Side note, guys, almost every one of the movies was meticulously picked to fit the month that we were going to be recording that episode.
And this wasn't even my choice. Matt did that for me because he cares about me.
I do.
Yeah, that was very sweet of you.
But so you made a comment about it with Zeke the Plumber, but I actually do like the mask that he wears throughout this movie. The whole movie feels like it's trying to be a Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake.
Yeah, and so that was like, you kind of knew where it was going. Like, obviously it got more extreme, so there's no way that anyone's like, I figured that out from begin to end. But I think, you know, and I don't think Full Moon tries to do any type of surprise too crazily. But it was like one of those things where it had such a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. You knew that guy was behind it in some way, just like the barbecue owner in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, you just knew that when he came to the rescue, you were going to find out that he wasn't a very good person.
It's kind of weird, though, because it's almost like they took all of the characters from Texas Chainsaw Massacre and just wrote them as one person now. Because like, he has scenes that are very Leatherface-y type scenes when he's like my favorite moment in the whole movie is him dressed up having a dinner conversation with himself. Like, that scene, like, that scene is incredible to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not bad. It's I like it more
he's
than
just
the
so
other
underwhelmed,
movie.
And I'm so disappointed in him.
Listen, I mean, I don't know what you want from me, guys. It was a fun movie.
What are your thoughts on the telepathy? Because I feel like that's always the thing I don't like in it. Yeah, like, I'm like,
what?
I feel like I could have enjoyed this movie if he was just straight killing people. I don't think he needed the magic telepathy powers for me to enjoy it.
I mean,
well, you're wrong. And you should feel bad about being wrong, because that is what makes this movie memorable, in my opinion.
Does the telepathy make your heart explode with fright?
Yeah, it does. You know, I just think that this movie is so wild. Like, this is the way that I see this film. I imagine someone going to Chucky Band and being like, "All right, Charles, Mr. Band, I have a script for you. What if the killer was obsessed with mannequins and telekinetic?" And then Chucky Fail was like, "You got it. Yep. Like, here's all the money you need." Like, this movie, it's just, the reason I think I love Tourist Trap so much, there are two big reasons. One, it's the fact that it's just so weird and bombastic in the fact that it exists. And it reminds me of a time when people were making weird movies because they believed in them. And like, now everything, it seems like so much stuff that gets made isn't creative. It's either adapting a book, or a short story rather. Like, cause most of the shit that I'm interested in is book, you know, or they were short stories, you know, like Annihilation was a short story. I mean, it's a book, but it's a fucking novella. It's very small. Mm-hmm. You know, I Want to See Antlers. That's based on a short story. You know, I do love the A24 stuff, like A24, because that's usually pretty clever and it's original, mm-hmm. you know. But at the same time, you can't have one studio being the only group of people making creative movies, like creative horror or genre films, I suppose. Like, that's what I think is so cool about Tourist Trap, is that it's like, okay, we want to make a slasher, but we want to make a slasher that's so weird that he's got telepathy and mannequins that he controls because he's fucking insane. And that's just like, people are hedging their bets on, like, studios are like, well, we got to make money, you know. It's just like, why are you, how many more, you know, what was that haunted jewelry box or whatever teen movie that they made, or you know, like,
You Wish,
Wish
Upon,
like,
Wish Upon.
Thank you. Like, I didn't watch that, obviously, but you know, it's just like, that shit is so stupid. And how many more of the movies in the Conjuring series franchise do we need?
Those are terrible. We don't need any more of those. I will.
You know, do we need more? But we, you know, I'm thinking like, I like the idea of.
I mean, I think you have to give some credit, even though their movies aren't very good most of the time. Like Blumhouse has put out some pretty shitty movies, but I will say they're a little bit creative. They're a little bit unique.
But we don't need more Halloween movies. We literally don't need another two more Halloween movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, we do.
I get
do.
what you're saying though, because like there seems to be this line where for a horror movie to be good, it has to be like hyper realistic and hyper gritty. And if it tries to do something weird, then by nature it has to be like over the top and bad. No one is just making a weird movie very sincerely anymore. And like that's what.
And did Blumhouse do Happy Death Day?
Yes.
So Happy Death Day did so well, and I loved Happy Death Day. It was a great movie. But Happy Death Day 2U, the sequel, I think is more fun because it's so out there and weird with the plot, with the premise. And I mean, I don't think it's a better movie, but I feel like that's the kind of movie that I want to see. I want to see something that takes some chances. And I want to see Ready or Not.
I was going to say, and that's why you also love like Mom and Dad. You know what I mean? Like they're.
Oh my God, Mom and Dad was so good.
But that's what I mean. Like it's these movies that I think that's the thing. People get this weird idea with horror movie night that is like, oh, horror movie night. They like bad movies. And I mean, I do. I'm not going to say I don't. I have a basement. I'm going to dive by shelves of bad DVDs falling on me one day. But, like, what we like is someone very sincerely taking a chance on an idea that almost no one would back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what Tourist Trap is.
That's what Tourist Trap is. And I think that, as I'm saying that out loud, I think that's why I didn't like Velocipaster on the level that other people did, because it wasn't really sincere. You know, like it's like, now if someone in the 80s made Velocipaster and they gave it the attention to detail and love and care that whoever made Tourist Trap did, I'd probably be like, fuck yeah, Velocipaster. But like, Velocipaster's so in on the joke. Yeah.
Yeah, but Velocipaster's in on the joke and is trying to actively be shitty. But then Wolf Cop is in on the joke and takes care to make the joke good. I mean, like, Wolf Cop is a great example because it's such an absurd premise. But like Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, and you know, I can bring that up every day every episode because you know how much I love it. Everybody knows how much I love it. And that's more of like a pastiche, but at the end of the day, I think that they really truly love like slasher movie tropes, and therefore that's why they did such a good job of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the this isn't horror at all, but like one of the things that if we were doing more than just one episode, I watched a shit ton of TV recently, and I watched both seasons of American Vandal, and I thought that American Vandal was so funny and so smart because, yeah, it's a stupid premise. It is like the dumbest premise you could possibly do. But they have such a love for the true crime documentary that they match the energy of those documentaries perfectly. So, like, you can do all of the beats of Making a Murder, of, like, somebody who had a bad track record being wrongfully accused of a crime and having to prove their innocence while everyone already assumes they're guilty. But instead of it being like the murder and rape of someone, it's who drew dicks on the teachers' cars in the parking lot. But like, if you never make jokes beyond that and stick to every single trope, it becomes brilliant. And like, when you're doing a docuseries where the conceit is, I would never draw a dick like that, and then they show a bunch of dick drawings and how none of them match the dick drawings on the teacher's car, like, but like doing it from,
I gotta
like,
watch this show,
dude, but like doing it from that like in-depth Forensic Files style, it is so much funnier than if it was like every single second we're in on the joke that it's about dicks on cars. Like there's something about taking it as seriously as you can take it, knowing that it's a dumb idea. And that's what I think makes Tourist Trap work, is that they're all in. So like when they're just like, hey, how about he has a puppet head that screams at people? It's like, sure, why the fuck not?
Let's kill the hottest girl with a Wild West mannequin scene, you know?
let's have the first big death be a pipe just flies into him for no explainable reason, and then his blood slowly drips out of him. Like,
yeah, that's another movie that we can add to the list of really dark deaths by pipe.
But yeah, no.
Now we've got two.
But yeah, like the other thing that I would want to bring up of like my 6 notes, because I've covered 5 of them, is for me, and this is going to sound weird, there's only been a handful of movies where like I felt slightly unsettled by the ending of the movie. And it's not like, oh, it scared me, or it's all about like a very specific type of face that someone makes. And I've talked about before how like the ending of the first Sleepaway Camp, like the image of her just standing there with this jaw-dropping look, just completely naked, holding like a knife, but like perfectly still, was like a really unsettling image to me. Like I didn't, like, it was hard to look at, and like it was burned into my brain from the first second I saw it. And Tourist Trap is the same thing, with that freeze frame at the end of the movie of her driving with all of these mannequins of her friends, and she's just got this like crazy smile of glee on her face. And it's you know, it's almost, again, they're trying to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is the girls manic laughing in the truck of the car at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where like something in her has broken. And like, I don't know why I don't get freaked out by that ending in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but this girl just driving with a big ass smile really fucks me up. So I guess what I'm asking is, Brian, did the ending scare you?
No, the ending didn't. The ending pissed me off. Not that it was a bad ending, but did you guys watch this on Tubi?
No, we watched it on Shudder, remember?
I watched it on my DVD. Did it do, because we watched another movie, did Tubi do some bullshit where you knew that there was something else, but it went to like 3 minutes of commercials, and then you got to see the last 30 seconds of the movie?
Yep. That is what happened.
That happened to me with the other movie we're about to discuss.
Yeah.
Oh, I thanks for taking the hit on that other movie, because I watched that on Tubi and it did not happen to me that way.
Oh, really?
So it must have been like, oh, we got our ad revenue from those other 2 yokels on Horror Movie Night. You get off scot-free.
Oh, see what you did there.
That, or it's possible that you, because I was like, the way that it ended, and we'll get into this when we record that actual episode, but the way that it ended, I was like, I swear to God, if these commercials are over and it just cuts to credits rolling, I'm going to be really pissed off, because like, it feels like that's the ending, but why else would there be commercials here unless there was more story to tell? And then there was more story to tell. About 30 seconds more story to tell, and then the credits started to roll. And I was like, fucking Tubi. Why do people love Tubi so goddamn much?
Ask our group. I don't know.
Ugh. I'm glad this is going on the main feed.
It is literally the only one of the... When people are like, hey, I'm watching this on Tubi, I'm like, yeah, and I'm not. It's like of the streaming services, it is my last resort if we need a movie. I will torrent something before we go on Tubi.
Yeah, and that's, I was gonna say, Scott will illegally download a movie before he suffers through Tubi if he can help it.
Yeah,
but on the next episode that we're recording, I had to, well, you'll have to wait for that story. But yeah, there's the reason why I didn't that I had to watch it on Tubi.
But, you know, end of the day, I still, like, Tourist Trap is definitely a movie I'm going to revisit. It's actually, I love this movie specifically for, like, this time of the year. Like, end of the summer, because it's, like, it's definitely a summer movie. Like, it's definitely people going and traveling, and it's a Tourist Trap stuff. But it also is, like, great for setting the mood for like, ooh, fall is like right fucking there. I can taste it. Like, we're just about to get into like my 60 days of spooky season, where it's just like,
ooh, 60 days. I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's just like, ooh, summer's over. Now it's spring. There's no holidays I care about in September. God, I just fucked up that timeline entirely.
What a dummy.
Summer's over, now it's fall, and then, like, I don't give a shit about any days in September, so, like, fucking I'm diving right into the Halloween movies and getting into that good vibes. I'm gonna wait for the weather to get just cold enough that I can wrap up in a blanket with a nice hot cup of tea in my hands and just enjoy some spooky ass movies where it looks like fall.
I love how Matt just watches horror movies like a woman in an AA meeting, just with a blanket over his shoulder, drinking tea.
I'm surprised they didn't even have some cider or something.
Dude,
like, Jesus,
hot apple cider is the way to go, dude. You put it in the microwave for 45 seconds. Oof.
See, I'm a chai tea or regular tea kind of guy.
Oh, I mean, I like tea as well, but in the fall, you gotta drink that cider, man. It's like so important.
See, for me, I don't know. I just love it. I love my tea in my big-ass Freddy Krueger mug, or my R2-D2 mug, or my Kermit the Frog host with the most mug, and I just curl up in the couch. Oh, man. And wintertime. Oh, God. We're about to get into the best 4 months of the year. God damn it. I love it.
Ew.
I love it.
It means nothing to me.
Yeah, because you live in
summer,
the worst state in the union.
Yeah. Just summer always.
Yeah. Do you know how boring that is? It's awful.
Brian's like, it's fucking January 15th, and Brian's sitting out on his porch with some shorts on, and he's like, yeah, this is real boring, Matt. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. It is funny when Brian comes up in the winter time, because like yes, sometimes it's like cold and it's like, I'll admit when it's cold and it sucks, but like he'll come up like in October, like he'll be like, hey, I'll come visit in October, and it'll be like 58, 60, which to me is still like shorts and t-shirt weather, and he's like bundled up like it's been a blizzard outside because his body just isn't used to anything below 70. Like, it's insanity to me.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, don't feel bad, dude, because I've lived in this temperate climate my entire life. Or maybe not such a temperate climate, but I've lived in this climate my entire life, and once it goes below 75, I'm in long sleeves.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, see, I mean, I like wearing jeans, so maybe not the shorts, but I'm a short sleeves all year round kind of guy, except for if I'm wearing a cardigan.
Oh, wearing a cardigan.
A good old
Just
cardigan.
wearing a cardigan. All right, so final thoughts, Brian. Let's say we rented this once, we re-rented it with you. Would you ever rent it again, is what your final statements would be.
Probably not. I was excited to watch it because I put it on. I watched it before when I was paying for Full Moon, which I don't anymore. But I stopped paying attention to it. It just doesn't. It wasn't painful to watch. It just isn't my cup of tea.
God, you are just falling asleep.
I mean, I literally had to stand up for like 15 minutes watching it because I genuinely was falling asleep. I'm not kidding. But that happened with the other movie as well.
Well, the other movie I feel like I can accept, but this one I cannot.
The other movie, which the listeners will find out in like 2 weeks what we're talking about. It's the first movie of Listener Submit It Month, for those who are curious. The other movie was the first time I've ever watched one of our movies while I was like on the clock at work. Because usually I'm just like, no, I'll watch it. Like, I'll lay down with notes. And I'll tell you what, man, having the excuse to have to look away for a couple minutes and like respond to emails made that viewing a lot. Oh God, it made the viewing experience a lot easier because holy shit, like I knew it was going to be bad, but my God, I wasn't prepared. But I also wrote more notes than I've ever written for anything, so I might have to start making that the new norm. Oh yeah. But, like, we'll get into that. But, guys, thanks for checking out our re-rental. I just took a peek ahead to see what next month's re-rental is, and I am so excited. For those who want a hint, I'll say this. It's one of the first 5 things we ever did an episode on. So there you go.
Ooh, I'm actually excited. I don't know what it is, but I'll check Trello.
Yeah, check our archives.
He'll finally check Trello.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking out this weird experiment. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.